I remember, you went to New York or something to meet Modiji, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I was in that. Yeah, Prime
Yeah.
Minister.
So what was
Exactly.
discussed? What was discussed there? I was very curious to know that day.
So Prime Minister invited uh, 25 scientists from the US to discuss about a possibility of engagement between India and US. And I was one of the young scientists who was invited for the meeting. The discussion was mostly on my side because I'm in agriculture. So PM was eager to know about the drone application in agriculture and how best we can expand the scope of drone application in agriculture in when we work closely with ISRO. So India has an agency called ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and ISRO. So they work independently. Prime Minister Modi wanted them to work in collaboration. So he was keen to know about how best ISRO can develop some small scale drones which can be used for agriculture research in India. And that's how we were discussing on that. And there were other discussions on different forum, but my role was in agriculture. So I explained these 2 points there, how best we can do.
So what was his reaction to this?
So I suggested 2 points. I suggested that um, in India, farm hold or land holding is very small. So when we apply drones, we have to think of that there will be drifting of spray of the chemical, let's say fertilizer, pesticide. That is a major challenge. So if let's say farmer A wants to spray something and farmer B doesn't want to spray, there is a lack of maybe we can say breach of privacy, and that's how there is a contamination problem as well. So we need to think on develop some guidelines for drone application in agriculture. And since I was a member of DOE of drone application in agriculture in US, so I sent his team. I sent the draft of drone modules. So he said that we will love to revise our drone modules as well. Second was that application of drone which is data secure. Right now, the drone which is used in India, which has a lot of chips used from China. So he was worried on that. So he said that why not our semiconductor industry, which is growing in Gujarat and other parts of the country, we can develop our own chips. So he is pushing that idea that we should have our own drone manufacturing hub, and that's how. These 2 points he was okay with that, and then he said that let's discuss more on that.
Wow.
So, but are you seeing that something is happening on these lines?
Yes,
Sorry.
I have read couple of articles in last few months in Gandhinagar and Gujarat part with their they have semiconductor hub. All the drone companies they are doing workshops with those semiconductor industry what they need, what they really look for their local chips. So they are doing a lot of workshop. METI Department of METI means electronic communication industry. They are doing a lot of workshop with startups in drone industry.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So, like Prakash he said, it it doesn't mean we should not think that China is the only one country who is making chips. First thing, first thing we have to understand, Malik ji, is that there are chips of many different types, and then they are also of the different level of chips. So there are many chips which now America don't make it because there is no value, means they cannot make enough profit. So they are making higher end chips here in this country, and the lower level chips, which is very least expensive, are being made in like Singapore and of course Singapore as well as South Korea. But higher end is and also in Europe right now. So those chips which were used for different application doesn't necessarily mean that can come only from China. Of course, China is pushing; they want to make everything in China, and that is their push, and they are very successful in doing that. They forced country to do that one. Like for example, when I remember it when I was at Intel, making latest level of chips, of course, there, but they forced us to open a plant in China. And we didn't, Intel didn't want to do the CPU there. CPU is the most expensive chip. So they said that, okay, we will start a memory chips. And then memory chips making, we didn't have any experience at that time. So then Intel partnered with Micron, and then we put together a plan for that. And then that chips are being manufactured in China. So so not necessarily like he's saying that for drone application or many other application we can get chips from other countries, Koreas and all that. But of course we have to plan making chips in India at very large scale at different category of chips, so that uh, we can become an industrial country, right? Because everything you can think of nowadays, any machine you try to build, it is all using semiconductor for different things. Either it is the control or processing or memory. I mean, these are the things, normally three things we do. Uh, uh, and uh, and if you depend on foreign chips, how long you can? They are, first, they are expensive. Second thing is that you are dependent, and third thing is that that can be used as a weapon. For example, America, you are buying chips from America. America, if relations breaks, then they will say that sanction. That's the American policy word, sanction. Oh, we are not going to send you these chips. That's exactly the same thing they are doing it to China right now. They are the higher end chips. They are not allowing it to go to China, and China is now that China is considering it as an opportunity. It is pushing their own industry to start making it, and they have been very successful. They are now the main competitor of US even in the semiconductor right now. I just wanted to choose you something about semiconductor. So India is joining late, although it is unfortunate, as you know, that semiconductor industry of United States, backbone of that is Indians. We all Indians have raised this industry in last 30, 40 years. If you go to any place, uh, in the research department, which I was in always, you will see one third are Indians, one third scientists are Chinese, and one third is uh, American. Yeah, this is how is the grouping. You can see that one. So we know how to do it, but since Indian government is a heavy investment, private industry initially didn't want to do it, and government should have jumped into that one in 80s when it was really taking off, and we missed that boat. So even now it is not too late. I hope Modi ji does something about it.
Sir, higher chip manufacturing start by the China.
They want to, but they cannot do it right now. The high end chips is that yeah, basically we go by what we call it. If I think most of us are engineers here, so I can say few words. And Malik is expert on physics, so please. So when you make the semiconductor, it's very simple. We all have learned from the high school days or electricity one in engineering college that that what is it? It is source and drain, right? Source and drain. You want electrical current to go from source to drain. That is the whole game. How do you do it? That is what is semiconductor industry. And so when you apply the voltage, then you there is a gap between source and drain. Then that gap is basically that becomes a conductive path, and then electricity or electron or that passes from the source to drain. That's what is happened, or other way. So this gap between source and drain, how much it is called channel width or channel length, whatever you want to call it, and that has been shrinking over the time. And now we are already, that is 3 nanometer in the production right now by TSMC. So That's where it is. But if you go then in the micron level, is China making it right now? China China want to import 3 nanometer and 5 nanometer, 10 nanometer chips from Taiwan, but United States is basically owning the manufacturing is happening in Taiwan, but the companies whose products are there either um, Nvidia or other companies, so it is their chips. So basically, it's American company chips. So Americans have control over that one, and they are saying no, we will not give you latest chips to. Will not allow you to sell any chips to China. So even so, that's how it works. So China is trying to. It is gap. It started making the old generation chips, and gradually it has been moving up and up, and it's doing very well in that. And Chinese are very hard working people. They are very good at copying things. They do the reverse engineering, figure it out, and then they start initially buying from others, and then slowly they start making their own. So they are very good at manufacturing, and they are a big challenge to United States. Of course, we are at the very beginning stage right now.
Sir, in India, Micron and Foxconn also started manufacturing in India. Foxconn in Chennai and Micron in Gujarat. So they have
Yeah.
started.
So
My many friend is working right now. They switch the
yeah,
job
yeah.
and
So
they
that
are.
is a good start. But what I'm saying is that they are entering right now uh, in India. Slowly, they're starting new companies are coming up. So it will take time. It's not that semiconductor is very expensive to like factories now cost about $10 billion to start, and then you need not only the factory. And India has people. We have well trained people. We all can go and start any level of plant in India anywhere. But the thing is the infrastructure you need, right? You need very pure materials of different types. So all basically what you see on the periodic table, all the elements you see on the periodic table are being used in semiconductor. It is mainly it is semiconductor designing is electronics, electrical, but manufacturing nothing but a chemical process. This is for your information. It's all chemical process. There is nothing in it because so just like any industry, any chemical industry or any industry you can take, everything is just like that. But the thing is that you need pure metals, you need pure liquids, you need all kind of things, uh, uh, gases you need, but you need infrastructure to build in India. Slowly it is happening. Suppliers are now entering into India, like equipment supplier is right now, like for example, equipment wise, there is company like Applied Material, which is in California, or Lam Research. These are kind of they uh, thin film application. They make a lot of tools, and etching. They make a lot of tools. Similarly, there is a lot of chemical companies like Dow Chemicals. They make a lot of things. So you need a lot of suppliers to start doing things in India. Yes, you can say that we can get all these chemicals coming from outside for a while, and then but it takes time, and that is what is infrastructure building. And if we start now, then it will take 10 years, 15 years to do it. Had we started it in 1980s, probably right now would be mature country, just like Singapore or South Korea or even Taiwan. So it's very good news that now semiconductor activity is happening. But if you think about the research and development point of view, now we are almost at the end of the research and development of semiconductor. So basically now we are, because as I was telling you that source and drain, you already have gone almost to 3 nanometer gap. So now you can go to 2 nanometer, 1 nanometer. What you will do after that? So then this industry will come to basically just like becoming the mature industry. You will, for the next generation of things, computing, you will have to go to something else. So new science has to be developed. Semiconductor will not mature. Another 20, 25 years, it will mature. It's just like any other chemical industry. It's done. Now you have to, new research has to happen. How can you make something new for computing?
Uh, yes, yes, sir. Right now we are working in the quality department. So whenever the some material coming from the European countries, some material coming from the China, some localization material from the India. When the material has been changed, so some problem material problem is occurring that. So we are knowing that this supply to worth India. Also, what India having the problem? Yes, yes. Sir. Whenever then discuss with the operator, what is the feeling that so whenever this material has been come, they are storing time the very difficult and very tight or whatever still the Chinese and European. So that is very fantastic. Sir. We have it smoothly by story. So I know that we are telling that some of the localization whenever the material has been localization because buyer has the KPI to do the 5% localization every year. So they have finding the new supplier in India, but the material has been some feeling that some issue. So we have do the some jugaad issue in India. So we are not maintain the quality. So that's the problem here. The skill is not issue here, and knowledge is not issue here. But we are our work transfer to jugaad. So quality differ is that quality is satisfied.
Yeah. So jugaad is the problem. We don't, science doesn't like jugaad, right? You can do the jugaad thing only for so long. You cannot take it to the next level. So we have to develop it, right? I mean, very, very simple things, we still are not there. One of my friend, his son is doing a, what you call, he started a company for furniture. So he's my son says about 30, 32 years in New York City, and he has a company which has like 70 employees and almost $50 million of uh, revenue right now. I mean, it just started 5 years back. So so right now when all this, we are discussing tariff and all that kind of thing. So when I was talking to him, he's a little bit worried. Actually, his parents are more worried, who are my friend, and they were saying that right now he is getting everything built in China. So all the furniture, office furniture, home furniture, his company that he is designing it here and then getting it manufactured from China. And then if you order it here, uh, from the warehouse, things will be sent to your offices or your house. So that's what is happening. And his parents were telling me that now we are worried that when tariff Trump will put in, then we will have a difficult time. So I was asking that. I mean, it is a basic furniture things. All you have is different metals. Why can't you do it in India as you outsource it rather than depending on China? And he raised the same question: infrastructure. So the point is that even for the basic furniture right now, people want to, people have a need in America to go and do things in India, but they find it difficult because infrastructure is not there. So that
With
is
that-
the thing we have to work on in India.
So, with that point, sir, I just want to add one more point. When I was discussing with Prime Minister Modi, I was surprised to know that India is one step ahead on development of alternative of semiconductor.
Good.
India puts 200 crore rupees for one institute called Institute of Advanced Studies in Science and Technology in Guwahati, where they are working on synthetic nanotube, carbon tubes, which will be alternative for semiconductors. And India is one of the few countries, only 5 countries are developing carbon nanotube research infrastructure in
Very
the
nice.
Guwahati. in the Guwahati.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to know that when I was talking about semiconductor of drone, he explained that we are investing 200 crore rupees every year on synthetic carbon nanotube. So Bhabha Atomic Research Center as well as DST IASTT, in Advanced Science and Technology Institute in Guwahati. They are working on developing alternative of semiconductors. So infrastructure is growing. We cannot say that it's
Good.
not there, but it's growing now.
Yeah. See, the thing is that we want to be like second or third economy in the world, right? So we have to think like US and China, right? We don't want to think like developing countries, other develop. We should not compare ourselves. Many times people compare. I said, why you compare yourself with with European countries now? Europe is out of scene now. When in science and technology we have beaten them already. We are ahead of them. So now let's see who are the top two, three countries. It is Japan, it is United States, it is China. We have to, China is really, I consider China the main threat for India because I have worked with them for 30, 40 years. I neck to neck in research and development. And I can tell you that they are really tough nuts. Those of you India, you don't get chance to deal with Chinese, and they are disciplined. They are very disciplined, well educated, very good in mathematics. Only drawback they have is that they cannot speak English like you we do. That
I
is
can
the only thing.
I can
But
understand my PhD. One of my PhD student is Chinese.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of so that is the only disadvantage they have. But they're very hardworking people. You give them ideas. This is what I want you to do. They will do it. We give them. Uh,
Amarnathji, there is one thing, people were discussing. Infrastructure is one thing, but the real problem, they say that India has got such a high tariff. It seems that any product you make really comes from 50 countries. So the Indian tariffs are among the highest in the world, actually. So they say that is a real drawback why big things cannot happen here.
yeah. So I mean,
Well,
that's
you
why
may agree
Modi.
to this point, but this
I
is
don't
what
know
they are
the
saying.
I don't know about the commercial part. I don't know if my
This,
brother is
yeah, because
my
the
my
tariffs are
brother is
so
here.
high.
My brother is here. He's working for
Yeah.
GST. Maybe he should throw some light on that. Umarji, you are listening the conversation that how the tariff is impacting the Indian infrastructure. So yes, I mean there are several problems, right? And we have to solve. And of course, we cannot do it in 1 day or 2 days. But we are talking. We are gradually going in the right direction. That is a very good news. We should not be discouraged. I think in last 20, 30 years, we have really started changing ourselves gradually, and there is more and more things are happening. But yes, we have to develop it. It will take time. It doesn't take, these things don't happen in 5 years. You have to have a proper plan. So that is something we have to learn from China. What China does very well is that anything new happening in the world, the government kind of uh, try to see that if something is happening new somewhere else, how can that happen in China? And then they throw money for that. New ideas, new research, new science. You do it, and I think that is missing in India. Had we had this thing, we would not have missed the semiconductor revolution in India. you know uh, तो ये एक चीज है. The government and private industries have to have a kind of partnership where a new discipline, if we don't have not necessarily everything, no country can boast that all the science will happen first there, right? ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना. So things are happening in different part of the world, but if something good is happening in different part of the world, our academics, our universities, like that is what is happening in America. American Prakashjee can vouch for that one. that this is the great thing here. If something happens somewhere else, easily they start duplicating it, reproduce it here. That how can we do that small scale? And of course that will require a lot of money, which we are now gradually coming there. So uh, we are positive that things will happen, but we have missed few boats in the past. Okay, Pankajji, what time is it? I think it was a very good